Good morning, good morning, good morning, and a huge warm welcome to Carnation Crafts. We're live in the Carnation Crafts studio. As always, it's lovely to have your company. So we're coming together today for a brand new expansion pack. So this goes with the Getting Together collection, which we've had loads of different generations for. So you've seen how we can use it for Christmas, you've seen how we can use it for Halloween and its original sports club, but now we have Quiet Cottage, which is just absolutely gorgeous. Comes with a little greenhouse set as well. This is 240301 on the Carnation Crafts website, which is www.carnationcrafts.co.uk. Show price today of $39.99. I imagine that'll be on the deal of the day, going back to $44.99 tonight at midnight. It's got a $2.95 UK P&P on it. You can go straight to that item by scanning the QR code at the bottom of your screen. That'll link you straight to it, so you can go. It's just easier. It takes you straight to the item, so you can check out straight from there. It's going fast, I believe. Did you say quarter of it's gone? Quarter has already gone on this item, so it is moving fast because we can make delightful pieces such as, let me just show you this little beauty. There are going to be so many. Look how that is. It's just joyous, isn't it? So many gorgeous cards that you're going to make with this collection. It's really an any occasion thing. It's very pretty, beautiful for things like retirement cards. So all of your crafting coming through. And we will show you lots of finished samples, but I'm going to do the boards first so you can see what's coming up for you and what you're going to get. So just to remind you, 240301, the Quiet Cottage die set. This is an expansion pack to Getting Together. So having a look at these boards and seeing what you're getting, look how pretty this is. So you've got all of your garden elements for your greenhouse. You've got the grass going along the long line, so you get to make those gorgeous grounding devices. And you'll recognise the shape of this from the Getting Together collection, so you see how it all works in together. You've got the bushes here, so you can create that really gorgeous garden scene. The little pathway that runs through, so you can have the cottage at the end of it or the greenhouse at the end of it. The little wooden panels there, which are obviously for gardens, where you can have your blooms sitting behind it, the little hedgerows and the gorgeous tree, plus then your greenhouse, which obviously very cleverly can be put together to create larger greenhouses. Really, really pretty. If you've got a gardener in your life, this is absolutely for you, isn't it? Because you can make so many cards. It's just beautiful. And then the pièce de résistance, the gorgeous Quiet Cottage. So you have the three birds, you've got the chimney, which is optional for you, and then you've got your little panel for stamping out, and you've got the white picket fence. So all of the elements that we have of that very happy home, that idea of, you know, walking into something very cozy, very lovely. As always, you've got pit marks around the door, so you can open the door. You can have the inside scenes that you would have used before for Getting Together. So your elements will come together. It's very, very sweet. It's beautifully done, and you can see all of the detailed cut work that gives us this gorgeous finish that you've got here. Really, really beautiful. It's stunning. So if you head to the Carnation Crafts website, which is www.carnationcrafts.co.uk, there's a big red button in the middle of the screen called Deal of the Day. You just simply click that. That takes you straight to the product there. You can see there's 11% off today. That's $39.99. At midnight tonight, it will take you to $44.99. So you don't want to grab it while it's cheaper, and you will just pop that into your basket. There's free artwork also on the Carnation Crafts website. So just to show you where that is, go to downloads and then free downloads. And when you get there, you'll find that there's artwork for all of Carnation's collections, so you'll be able to see it. And the second one in at the minute is Quiet Cottage vignette. If you want to find this later down the line, if you come to us in a year and you really fancy grabbing this, you'll need to use the search box at the side and just put in Quiet Cottage, and it will bring you to the collection. So everything that you need is there. Download the artwork for free, print it out, and use your dies to cut on the top of that, as we've shown you previously. And we've got another show for you today, Fantastic Forest. We will show you again in that show. But I want to show you lots of samples for the Crafters Select, because I think it's absolutely delightful. And we've got a couple of demos for you, so we will get to those as well. So I've shown you that one. We're just saying this morning how much we love this one from Sue, because it's just so pretty. It's just perfect, isn't it? It's not overdone, it's not overbaked, it's just beautiful. What Sue's done here is clipped the roof from obviously the greenhouse and turned it upside down. So you've got the three together, creating one larger greenhouse. So lots of different ways of playing with it. You've got the florals there that come in from getting together. So you've got the hanging baskets and you've got those window baskets as well. So bring in that other collection. Also, you'll have other collections with florals that you fancy putting in as well. So you've got all the elements. Lavinia Newton brings us that gorgeous new home cottage scene. So we've got, again, a different use for it, haven't we? The last one was happy birthday, new home. Isn't that lovely? Really, really sweet. And them knocking on the door there, which is just really gorgeous. And again, from Sue, I love this one. Look at that. That could be anywhere, couldn't it? Gorgeous. Walking into a park, possibly. Really pretty with those lights in the trees and the birds there. Just a symbol of peace. It is such a gorgeous, peaceful card that you can obviously bring together. Another one from Sue as well. Home sweet home, isn't it? Spoil yourself. If you were living there, you would indeed be spoiling yourself. It's absolutely gorgeous, isn't it? You're going to be able to make all of this. Obviously, Carnation will pick, pack and post the minute they get hold of your orders. So this will be in the post to you today, and you should receive it either tomorrow or on Monday, which is always nice to know. Look at the different elements we're going to do. I'm going to be making a card that is sort of similar to this, so you will see that coming together as well. But we can also use apertures and bring those in. We've got this from Vera Bow. And we're bringing in layered apertures here and using those apertures to put elements in. So you've got the apertures coming through as normal. Then on this side, the cottage just tucked into one of those layers. And it's really effective, isn't it? You've got the bench at the bottom that comes from getting together and then the use of that picket fence. So you see how these scenes are created. We've got the little mud pile and then we've got the sort of grass at the back, which gives it this idea almost of a rolling field at the back with the tree as well. So we're really creating vivid scenes, which is what we want to do. And then I've got Now Relax from Pam Simpson. Again, the use of those elements from getting together. You see how all of this works together. It's just gorgeous, isn't it? Really pretty, homely scenes. And the last one I'll show you for now, we're going to come back and do the rest of the finished samples. But for now, I will show you this one from Janine, which then transcends this over to your Christmas collection. So this is Carnation is not just for Christmas, as they say, it's for all elements, but certainly it can go over. So you see how all your bits have been brought together. Isn't that gorgeous? Now then think about the original shape for the Getting Together expansion pack was obviously the clubhouse, but bringing that in, you could start to make street scenes. And especially at Christmas, that's going to be incredibly valuable to you, to be able to make street scene cards where you're bringing forward this idea of, you know, community, etc., where you're building shops and various different items. So you will be able to use all of those together. Remember, we also have the little clubhouse as well from Getting Together, you know, the little one that sits at the side. So you will be able to just build and build and build your scenes, which would just be gorgeous together, wouldn't they? So don't forget how much we've got and how much expansion we've got when we get the Carnation expansion packs, because they are sort of an endless drive that we can go forward with. So definitely something for you to get your teeth into with the Quiet Cottage, because it's going to take you a long, long way in your journey. Obviously, it's selling fast. This is Quiet Cottage, 240301, Carnation Crafts website, www.carnationcrafts.co.uk. Show price today, $39.99, $2.95 UK P&P. That will go up to $44.99 at midnight tonight. Please feel free to use the QR code at the bottom of your screen. If you're new to QR codes and you haven't used one before, it's just a case of turning the camera on your phone, hovering over that. You don't have to take a photo of it, just hover. It will bring you a link that you can click, and that will take you straight to the item that we've got on there today. And we will go through all of that again as we go through the show. I'll show you the boards again and we'll go through lots more finished samples, but I do have a demo. Yes, Miss Tiztaz.
We have got a lot of people on the socials.
On the socials. Hello, people.
So we'll start with YouTube. We've got Linda Poland. Who, I have to say, the amount of people that have got up early to order this is incredible.
I know, right? It makes sense with Carnation.
We've got Angela, Amanda, Vera Bow saying she loves this expansion pack. We've got Denise, Donna, and we've got Mandy. And then over on the Facebook, sorry, 1 second, we've got Suzanne, Diane, we've got Rachel, B, Amanda, Jacqueline, Jan, Lorraine and Debbie all saying good morning.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. I hope you're all really, really well and looking after yourselves. It is a little bit of a grey day here. I don't know how you're faring at your end. A little bit of a grey day, but not unpleasant. It's not raining, so we like that. Yes, Mr. Stars.
Jacqueline has said, Carla, stop giving us ideas. My purse is running dry. The Christmas scene sounds wonderful.
Doesn't it? As you build that, I love the idea. And almost you could make almost a nativity scene out of it, couldn't you? It'd be really, really pretty as it comes together. But I love the idea of doing a townscape, and especially with the elements we've got from things like Wonderful World for Christmas, that would just be glorious, wouldn't it? They're the sort of, it reminds me of the Christmas markets, and I come from a market town, so that's just very adorable to me. Right, let's have a look. So I'm going to work on an 8x8 for this particular card, and I just want to show you the base elements of what you're getting in the pack. So the usual, just scoring at 1/2 inch, using your red liner tape to place that down to give yourself that card base. So once that's sorted, you've got your foundation, and then I'm going to work with some of Carnation's Perfect Papers. I've chosen a honey tone because the bricks on the cottage, where you're seeing that beautiful, lovely colourway come through on the cottage, it warms those tones, so you can see how that's sort of matching. And that's the point with Carnation, isn't it? This isn't a perfect paper for this collection, but you can see how they all come together, and that's why the Perfect Papers are such a wise idea when you're buying the collections. So just to place that as equally as I can, or as equidistant as I can without leaning it over. And then I've got my next cooler tone here, so I'm just using that as a border just to give that hint of tone so I can warm everything up. And then we're going to go in with our main aspects. So just running through. Place that down, push and pull, and that's going to give me the foundation to work with this glorious, glorious cottage. When we're talking about this cottage, this is an 8x8 card base. You can see how big that cottage is. This is no small fry. We're working on a big die. It's beautifully done. I'm just going to pull this in front of me so you can see that metal come through. That is a gloriously big die, isn't it? And then you've got your other elements as well, so we can still make smaller cards from it. You've seen how the DT for some of them have cut it in half so that they can do it peeking out. So if you're using aperture cards, that's absolutely divine for that. And then obviously you've got your matte layer as well, and so you've got your base card and your matte layer as well, so you can play it with the whole thing. And we will go through the the basis with that as well. So I've got this sitting here, and I'm going to place it in the middle, and I'm just going to ground out my the bottom of it with that grass. Now look how that immediately brings that together. And I'll be totally straight, one little sign on there saying new home. That's a really delightful card. And that's the joy, isn't it? That we don't have to go much further than that. That's a really gorgeous card, and you could literally get away with just that. Now, as I'm building this card, I'm going to use very small amounts of glue, and I'm going to just make sure I've got enough space to tuck things behind. So I do want my chimney to be there, etc., but I'm just going to need to tuck it, so I need to know I haven't kind of got myself into a pickle with it. So the first thing I'm going to do is put my grounding device down. So using the grass, small amounts of adhesive just to make sure that I've got it pinned where I want it to be. And just place that at the bottom. So that takes care of my first visual. I don't have to worry anymore about things floating in midair. I've got my grounding device. It gives me a very clear, definite route, doesn't it? I'm just going to move the chimney up, not the chimney, sorry, the house up. And now I've got my little steps, okay, my little pathway going through. So I need to just tuck that, and that's why I use small amounts of adhesive, so that I know I can tuck as and when I need to. Small amount of adhesive on this as well. You can always add more afterwards. Once you've committed, then absolutely add as much as you need, but prior to that, you're best off just making sure that you're covered. So there's my little footpath going forward to the cottage, and as you see, it fits that door perfectly. So we're creating beautiful scenes. Now that I've got that, I need to ground the house out before I do much else. And again, same thing, small amounts of adhesive. That's going to allow me to tuck as and where I need to. So just in small places, so I can pin it down, but I'm not restricting where I can craft with it later on. So placing and pushing. Make sure I've committed that down. Up, lost my path. So just placing through. Okay, so all my elements are now roughly in place. I've got the line, the sight line that I want for it. So now I start to build the scene from that point. So doing that will give you a really strong visual of where you want to go. The next I've got is my chimney, and it just sits. Now you can have 1 or 2 chimneys coming off your house, depending on how fancy you want your house to be. I like the fact that it just pokes at the top of the card there and just goes off kilter. I always like an over the edge element on a card. I think it's really sweet and adds something more to it. Once I've got my chimney base down, I can now lift my cottage on the edge here and start adding more adhesive, because you're going to want to make sure this is fully committed down. But give yourself some breathing space first. Allow yourself to motivate where you want to be before you set that down. So now I know that that is absolutely tied in place. Right. I've got some wee little mud piles here, and I'm going to bring them in, and I'm going to start tucking and shaping where I want them. So the first element that I'm going to place is just in there, and poke it through. So little amounts of adhesive there, and just base it in just about there. Just want it to just poke onto the house. There you go. So we're starting to build the foundations around. You can see how that path suddenly, because we've got the mud pile there, what is essentially a very short path, as we start to build, it makes the path look longer. So you're elongating the visual. Same here. And tuck that in. Okay, so building. Now I've got some of these, and they're very, very sweet. The first ones I'm just going to place in, and I'll place it on top here. These are obviously little hedgerows, and they're just so lovely. I am just going to shape it a little bit just to give it a bit of oomph, so that it's got just a small amount of definition and dimension there. And I'll fill that with some silicone gel glue and just place that through. So it just sits and peeks. They're so sweet, aren't they? Same again on the other side, or next to it as such. Just there. And then I'm going to copy on the other side. I'm going for some sort of sense of symmetry as such here. Just to let you all know, we've already got 30% gone. You're going to have to move on it, I believe. Don't wait for me. The number is 240301. You can watch these back at any time, but you won't be able to get that price anytime. So the definite way forward is to either pause us or come back and watch this at a later point, but don't miss out on that discount deal. Remember, it's the deal of the day, midnight tonight. That's going to go straight back up to $44.99, so you do want to shift on it as quick as you can, and that'll secure your place in the Carnation queue. Right, so I've got those there. And now I'm just going to bring in some trees. Remember, I didn't quite commit those, the sides of the house there. So I can just poke this in and just hide that bottom branch. So there's no there's no sense of it starting, you know, at a certain point. It could be as tall as you wanted it to. So long as you're hiding that hidden branch at the bottom, you can make that as tall as you want. You can snip into the trees and create taller ones, and we'll do that in a later demo for you. So I could just snip in another tree, and I'll just explain what I mean. I can then put that and hide it as such, so the tree looks fuller and taller. Up to you what you want to do, but I'm going to leave some white space at the top of this one, just so that I can play with those visuals. And bring this one in at this side. Same sort of thing, just over the edge, so you've got that beautiful, you know, we're just making it a little bit more dimensional. And the last thing that I'm going to do is my little picket fence, because every gorgeous house should have a white picket fence, or so they say. And we're just going to place that. We'll place it down. Let's place it at the bottom here. And that's your quiet cottage. Beautiful. Really easy to do, and really easy to make. Gorgeous, gorgeous cards with this collection. Obviously you can make them much fuller. I just wanted to get you the full aspects of what you're seeing from this kit, so you've got a really good visual of where you're going with it. If you don't put anything else with it at all, you are creating stunning cards, and that's an absolute joy and a bonus for us to have in our crafting arsenal. It means that we can use it at any time for anything, doesn't it, for any occasion. 240301 on the Carnation Crafts website, which is www.carnationcrafts.co.uk. This is the Quiet Cottage die set. Show price $39.99, $44.99 at midnight tonight. QR code down at the bottom for you to scan and take you straight to that product, so you can go straight to it. Now let's have a look at some more finished samples, so you're seeing how the DT team have used it. Yes, Mr. Taz.
Just on that note, Rachel said when we showed them, obviously previously, I'm literally beside myself looking at these fabulous samples. Very talented.
I know, they're amazing, the DT team. I'm just going to show you this Christmas one again, because it's just ridiculously gorgeous. Yes, Mr. Stas.
And just to say hello to Sheila and Charlotte over on YouTube. Charlotte said, I've just placed my order. Sitting on my hands didn't work.
No, it never does. Never does. It's like sitting next to a Twix, where you don't stare at it for a very long, do you? Just eat it in the end. So just to show you that Christmas one, because it's so gorgeous, from our family to yours. And I think the point of this is understanding the value of the Getting Together expansion pack. The Getting Together expansion pack is, or the Getting Together collection, should I say, is never ending, isn't it? It's the gift that literally keeps on giving. You can see here where Janine has used the little extra clubhouse section that we were talking about a moment ago to build on to this piece, so creating those scenes. So that's from the original Getting Together. The Getting Together will be on the Carnation Crafts website as well, so you just need to again head to www.carnationcrafts.co.uk, type in Getting Together. So for those of you who missed the original one, it will be there. Yes, Mr. Stas.
Getting Together is out of stock, but they can register their interest.
There you go, register your interest for it. As soon as Carnation get that back in stock, you'll be able to order that. The Getting Together collection is insane, because there's so much to it, and there's so many variants that you can go forward with in the future for it. And they've already, like I say, released a Halloween pack for it, a Christmas pack for it, and now we've got the expansion, so we just keep building on that collection. And isn't it nice to know that when we purchase something from Carnation, they don't just leave us with the one thing that we've got, but in actual fact, we get to keep building. So let's have a look at some more of these examples from the very joyous DT team. Loving this one with some acetate for that greenhouse, which is gorgeous, from Janine. Let me just remove that one and put this one there. Look at that. Celebrating new beginnings. And especially when people move house, because it is a new beginning, isn't it? If you can just see, can you see where that's glinting for the acetate used there? And all of the elements coming through. Those birds are gorgeous as well. They kind of symbolise home, don't they? There's something about it. Your easel cards will always be beautiful with this collection. And another sample of an easel made in that same way is Pam's here, where you've got her sitting forward. There's your trees and all your elements all tucked in. And then you've got that beautiful cottageway there. You can see how visually that becomes extraordinarily impactful, doesn't it? something very sweet and cozy. Again, using those elements from Getting Together. So you can see how you've got the little baskets at the side that have been used there. That's another of Pam's there. Thank you to the DT team for doing extraordinary work. And it's just very pretty, isn't it? Very welcoming. It would make a lovely Santa's grotto. It would make a, you know, a gorgeous, there's so many scenes that this would be lovely with. Using lots of elements on a bigger scale card there. So that's probably an 8x8, 10 or 9x9, sorry. So you've got bigger skylines, you've got more white space, the use of the greenhouse at the side with the two little birds, which are just delightful, aren't they? Really cute. You're going to be able to create so much. Now, I am going to give you another demo, but I'm just going to quickly show you the boards again so you can see what you're getting and you can see everything that's coming through in this pack in case you missed us at the beginning. And then we will do another demo and then we'll show you the rest of those finished samples. So sitting here, the first thing that we notice is your grounding device. It's so important for you to have that grounding device. It means that you're making sense of what's in front of you. You've then got your beautiful garden path here, as we've seen, and that's such a delightful piece. You've also got these hedge lines, so we can create extraordinary garden flowing pieces, and you can step those gardens up by using those pathways. So you could have mud at the bottom of one, florals at the next, or you could put your foliage, your bushes, and all the rest of it up there as well. So you're creating that stepped garden scene. Your greenhouse here, the detailing in everything that comes through. You can see all these cut lines, and these are not for nothing. These are so important. And then you've got your greenhouse here and your beautiful tree. So everything is in bloom. We're getting ready for summer, and all of us are ready for those warmer days. We're all ready to be outside gardening, doing the things that make our home just so much more delightful visually, aren't we? We always know that gardens give us that, and now we can make it on a card as well. So again, little chimney that you can tuck in. You've got your little three birds who are just lovely, aren't they? And you can put them on, obviously, the roof. You can put them on here. There's so many different places. Your little white picket fence, which I love. And an element for you to stamp on here, which is a perfect fit for over the door. You can use it, you know, sort of over the letterbox. There's numerous places you can put it. And it's designed so you've always got somewhere that is open for your sentiment. So lots of visuals coming through. So that is the Quiet Cottage collection from Carnation Crafts, 240301. Show price $39.99. Normal price $44.99. That'll go up at midnight tonight, just to let you know. Right, let's do one with the actual card shape. Yes, Miss Taz?
So B and Suzanne have both just received emails saying that it's being dispatched.
We like them apples. If your post service is on its toes, you will probably have this in your hand tomorrow. So don't forget to do your vignettes today, and then they're printed and ready to go for you to do all of your crafting fun tomorrow, which we love. Yes, Mr. Stas.
Over on YouTube, I did not know this. Over on YouTube, Amelia has said, "Hello girls, it's International Women's Day today."
Is it?
So she's treating herself to the Quiet Cottage.
Absolutely. Well, happy International Women's Day to you all. It's a joyous thing, right? It is a joyous thing. Now, the large die in this set, so the much bigger die on the outside, is the one that I've used to cut out my card base, and I've cut it twice. I used a 350 GSM smooth from the Carnation website, and that allows me to have a much stronger base for my cards. I've scored at 3/4 of an inch just so I can allow for that chimney line to come in, and then I have used red liner tape. Shuffle the two of those together, get rid of Miss Phyllis's fair from there, shuffle them and place them together, and then I've got a gorgeous house base. Lovely, isn't it? Really sweet. Just as that is, there's a really nice foundation for everything you're about to build on. Now you can have a matte layer on here, but I want to do it just with the cottage, with that white outline around it, because I'm going to start building some foliage on it. So my predominant colours that I want to come through this are my greens. They'll match my front door, and it will just bring that colour forward, so that's where I'm working on here. Same thing with this as the last one. I'm going to commit, but I'm going to commit on the centre part of it rather than the externals, and that's going to allow me to tuck if I need to, move if I need to. It just gives me a bit of breathing space, and I tend as a rule when I'm working with big dies to always do that. So I hope that helps. Place that down, a little bit down here. And just seat it, and it just seats beautifully there. You'd want to live there, wouldn't you? I wouldn't fit my German Shepherd in. Yes, Miss Tisdaz?
Well, Jacqueline said, looking at the images, it reminds her of the little cottage at the side of a railway line.
It has got that feel to it, hasn't it? It has. Beverly still has one of those little railway cottages sitting just at the side. Now I've got my chimney pots, and obviously I left myself the space to tuck them. So I'm just going to place those in. I'm going to use one on either side of the house and just tuck that there. If you've got some of the clouds from previous collections, you could always use those as some smoke to billow from your chimney. Cute as a button, isn't it? Really sweet. So that's that there. Let's ground it out. So similar to last time. And I'm just going to place that. Now, one of the things that you can do, if you take this and you glue it, you can you see where my fingers come through? You can create an arc, and that will give you a different standing form where you can then put certain things on it as well. So you'd be able to glue behind that. Visually, it would be hidden because it's still your grounding device, but you'd create dimension from it. Obviously, that's going to be more difficult if you're posting it, but it's certainly a nice idea if you're handing somebody that card to just give that little arc for some dimension at the bottom. I'm just going to place this through. Small amounts of adhesive just going on here so I can pin it. Place it down and center it. And already that gives it perspective, doesn't it? Makes the house look further back from the grass, which is what we're looking for. Now, again, I want to tuck in some of those elements from the pieces. So the tree predominantly I want to have seated. I'm not working in a symmetrical form this time, but I do want to have this seated kind of behind and hidden, so it's just poking out. So the idea is that that tree is sort of in the back garden. 35% already gone, guys. This is moving fast and furious. Please do make sure you don't miss out. The demos can be watched at any time. These things are always sort of gone by midnight, so you do have to shift on things. That's the nature of Carnation. Right, so I've got that sort of poking. It's almost as if the tree is in the back of the house, so we're giving it that visual cue. And now I'm coming in with some of those hedgerows, so just to grab this, and I'm just going to give that some shaping around those edges. Fill that with some silicone gel glue so I get that beautiful dimension. You could decoupage this using 2 or 3 of that hedgerow and just building height that way as well. It's up to you, whichever way you prefer. But that's a lovely, it brings it together, doesn't it? It's got that nice visual to it, which we love. Follow that round. Silicone gel glue again. Framing that doorway. That's so pretty. Just there. Now I've got some people from the original Getting Together collection, and I can choose obviously to use some of those people in this selection pack depending on what you're trying to achieve. So by simply sort of placing in this gent here, for instance, if I put him here, he will look like he's about to open the door. Okay, So you've got lots of different visual cues there that we can use, which are really, really sweet. Alternatively, I could pop her there so she is looking almost through the window, isn't she? She's about to go and maybe knock at somebody's door. But I quite like him for knocking on the door, holding the door and about to open it. It just sort of fits perfectly. So we're going to pop him in. Just seat him where he is, about there. And then I've got a little floral that I just want to bring in to add in a little colour, and this is the window box, obviously, that's just going to sit on that window frame there. So I'll place that in. I'm just using the one. And then finally on these parts, just put on that picket fence, just putting some wet glue on the bottom. Placing that there. So he's gone through the fence and he's knocking at the door. Now I've got a couple of boydies. So we'll bring those in. I'll have one in the tree. And then we'll have one up on the roof. Just there. And then finally, we've got the sentiment coming through. If I can get that off the back. Thank you. Beautiful little finishes on gorgeous card shapes. It just comes together, doesn't it? Gorgeous collection, or gorgeous set, should we say. So the Crafters Select are sort of, or the expansion packs are a bonus to collections that we've previously got. And what they do is literally expand what we've got in the past, so we get to play in more ways, we get to do more with what we've previously seen, and we see this very, very vividly, don't we, in Quiet Cottage, and how that's going to come together with the original Getting Together collection that we saw. Was it about a year ago now, the original Getting Together, Miss Taz?
Oh, I think it was a bit earlier than that.
Was it?
Do you know what? I don't remember. Well, we've had quite a few expansion packs, so maybe. I get to have a look.
You can have a look. We've got a gorgeous card here from Janine Dawson. Look at that. How to use the greenhouse. It's beautifully done. It's just very vivid, isn't it? That's such a lovely, lovely, just gorgeous visual. If you're going to make a card, that's the impact we're looking for, isn't it? Enjoy retirement. And then that gorgeous scene of him just gardening at the back. Really, really pretty. Yes, Mr. Says?
It was the 17th of April, I believe.
So nearly a year ago.
About 10 months ago we had this.
So I was close. Don't quite get the prize, but I was close. So we've got one here which I love as well, where you see the little door opening. Remember those pip marks that are put into these dies for us to use. So you can still see the little scene going on behind, which I think is just such a nice cue, isn't it, for people to see visually. And then the new home. So people celebrating inside with maybe a little party for a welcome home. Isn't there a word for when you do housewarming party? There you go, a little housewarming party going on behind those scenes. Or you can obviously then close that, and so the recipient has a little extra sweetness when they come in. So gorgeous, gorgeous way of using it. Now I do want to show you this one, because this might be just the most extraordinary card from the genius that is Janine Dawson, who is as clever can be. Look at that. Talk about impact. Lay it up. How gorgeous is that? How much would you like to go and have a cup of coffee in that little quiet cottage? Isn't it just delightful? Layered apertures, again, bringing in all of those tones and those colours, inviting us into a scene. We're literally being invited in to a special couple. What an incredible anniversary card, wedding card, engagement card. That is delightful. Certain aspects used from getting together as well, just brought together in the most extraordinary way. So a huge, huge thank you to Janine and the rest of the DT team. You are, as always, incredible, and your work is just always ridiculous with Carnation. You're so good at what you do. Finally, on these ones, we've got this from Sue Dalrymple. Look at that. For sale, sold, new home. It's got everything it needs, hasn't it? I love the use of the two characters there as well, and the little birds that sort of represent as well in front, which is so sweet. Your hanging baskets, all the elements coming through. It's very, very lovely. Right, I'm going to do another quick demo. This one is quite a quick demo just to show you the greenhouses. Yes, Miss Tisdale.
So Pamela has commented saying, I should be working, but I'm watching all the demos and ordering new dies is much more fun.
Of course it's more fun, yeah, for sure.
And then Bees kind of responded going, me too, I'm sort of working.
Sort of, a little bit. That's fine, a little bit's fine. Right, let's have a look at that greenhouse and see how that plays and comes together. And then I will give you a quick another tour of the boards, and then we'll let you go because we are back at 1 with Fantastic Forest, which is very exciting. We'll have some demos for you then as well, and lots of inspiration. So we'll have a look through that. That's going back a couple of years, so it's always nice to see them again and have fun with other collections. Right, let's place those together and start creating. Oh, I don't know what's happened there. Right, and place that through. Using a 3mm here to get some height. It's very dotty. Place that onto there. And then let's bring in. Now for this, I've used one of the backing papers from Carnation just to give it a sky blue colour. So don't forget, you've got loads and loads of free backing papers on Carnation's website, and there's just a plethora to choose from. If you're lucky enough to own any of Carnation's USBs, you will also have a full library of papers every time. So please do go and look at your stash and see what you can use. Now, again, I'm going to still use that grounding device because I likes it very much. Just to give in that it sets it, doesn't it? So without it, it's a card base. It could be anything going forward. With it, it just gives us that cue that there's something happening, that we're invited in. So grounding device is always one of my favourites. Use a little bit of wet glue here. This is Carnation's Everyday Glue. Super, super sticky, which I love. And just small amounts. And that's going to allow me to seat this at the bottom. Oh, let me centre that. There we go. And just place down. Now let's start creating some height on this. So I've got the two pieces here that I'm going to use as my greenhouse. Now you can use them independently as one, or we can put them together as two. I'm going to build a slightly bigger greenhouse, so I am going to go for 2 on this. Now this is why grounding devices are so important, because even with perspective that would look odd. We need to build the scene before we can get there, because that wouldn't make sense visually. And so grounding devices are our best friend when it comes to those things. So let's start building some visual cues here and see where we get. We've got your gorgeous little pieces here that sort of signify, it's almost like a height builder, isn't it? Now I can place that at the front here and then build from behind, or I can add elements to maybe the front. Say here, where my little mud pile is, I'll just tuck that below that grass and then start building around it. Okay, so now we start to see how those platforms come in. We then build height and we build height and we build height, and it'll start to come together in that way. Easy fry to do, but it makes a difference on impact. We can then build from there, so you can see how those heights come together. Now I'm going to tuck that one under the mud pile so that visually it sort of looks more like it's behind and work my way up. So as I do that, I can start to commit to that glue, but I don't want to commit to it until I know that I've got everything seated where I want to and that visually everything is working the way it should. So building from there, I'm just going to add in some of my little round pieces. Up. And put a couple in here. And I will do, let's have a look, a tree at the back. So I've created a small scene coming up and building up, which I love, love, love. So once we've got that scene edged, which I just want that to be there, and then I can move this across. Remember, with Carnation, if I want to make that small, if it's a little bit too big, I can snip it into those elements. As it stands, mine's okay at the minute, but remember, you're in control at all times. The snippability value of Carnation is absolutely extraordinary. And it gives us a different scope because we're in control of the die cut. Add these in. Build. Place that casually there. And then I've got my tree, which I can build on here and just place down. So I'm committing to the height. Oh, that's my tummy, I do apologise. Committing to the height from the start. Now I've got other elements that I want to put in as well. So I've got the little bush that I'm just going to tuck down here just to fill in that space. So we're coming forward. And from there, I've got my little pathway. So I'm just going to tuck this down here. That path's going to start building up towards my greenhouse. So I can place down, and I'm going to want to stick those two together. So because I'm going to overlap them, so it still looks like one building rather than two separate, if that makes sense. Just visually it will impact it. But before I do that, I need it to have some florals in it. I need it to have something visually in it, otherwise it's just a plain space. So the first thing that I'm going to do is remove them, knowing that I need to have something at the back tucked in. So I'm going to go for this first. And just place that there. That gets committed right down to that back portion. And then let's have some florals in there as well. So we've got the idea of it being sort of a summery, lovely scene. And I'll put that more centrally so it overlaps both of those greenhouses. Or those greenhouse windows, should I say. So we'll put that more or less there. And then I can start to bring in these shapes. So now they're housed, all right? So something's going on behind the scene, not just in front of it. Oh, that my tummy, I do apologise. So we'll just commit that there first off. And then I've got the second one here, which I'm going to overlap. Now this one, I'm not putting any adhesive on the roof like I did on the last one, because I want to tuck a little hanging basket in it, but I can't do that realistically until I've got all this done first and just placed. Otherwise it's going to get into my way as I'm trying to stick those two on top of each other. So just like so. Stick that down. That's going to give me a nice little cue, and now I can still tuck behind that roof because I didn't commit it. So the first thing I'm going to do here is just put a little bit of wet adhesive on the back, and now I can control where it goes. So just placing down onto that visual where that point is, and push that there. So super sweet. Now let's just cover up my workings at this side with one more of these, but I'm going to shape this one out so it's more protruding at the front. Oh, 40% has gone, guys, and we are only 50 minutes into the first show, well, the show for it. It's time to move. Fill that with silicone gel glue. Place that over at the front. So we've got your little welcome into your greenhouse. And then I'm just going to tuck one more behind, but with wet glue and flat. I want the dimension on the front one, not the back one. So that's just going to get placed in so that I've got it seated. And then picket fence over to the side, just here, to give it a corner edge and that little visual. Let me make sure that's stuck. Second one in place in front of it or next to it. So we're walking around somebody's garden. Always nice to have a nosy, isn't it? And then we've got this lovely lady. She's going to be having a look at what's going on here, what's inside this greenhouse. As she's walking past. We're going to have two little birds. Just sitting in the tree. That greenhouse for the Quiet Cottage. Little bird is very busy. And finally, a happy birthday. Clean cards, lots of white space that's valuable for us to see and to use. Very, very pretty, lovely little pieces. So lots of elements coming through for us to use. I'm going to give you a really quick tour of the boards again, just for those of you who've just joined us, and then we are obviously going to be wrapping up, ready for when we next come to you for the next show. Yes, Miss Taz.
Donna over on YouTube has said, thumbs up for lovely Carla and the fantastic Carnation team.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. So we have got here your elements coming through, your grounding device, which we've used plenty of times, those bushes, that gorgeous pathway leading up to the cottage or up to the greenhouse or up to both, depending on how you're building your card. You've got your lovely mud piles here as well, and then your little log fence as such that allows you to build either behind or in front, to build layers, to give it visual expansion around the door. Just beautiful to use. The gorgeous little round hedges and that beautiful tree, not forgetting obviously the greenhouse, and then obviously the main piece here, the star of the show, is that gorgeous Quiet Cottage. So all of the elements coming through with the detailing, free artwork from the Carnation Crafts website. You don't have to colour anything in yourself. It's all there for you to download and print. Try and use some Pro Print if you can, it'll make a difference to your colours. You've got your little picket fence, you've got those gorgeous birds, and you've got that chimney coming through as well. So a million things that you can do with this. You've seen it, you can just imagine the townscapes you're going to be making, the gorgeous elements you've got. Think of things like the little aeroplane that Carnation have had in the, is it the Travelling Light section? There's lots and lots of different things that you've got for your skylines. So loads for you to do with this this expansion pack, which we love. These things are really important. You'll find this on the Carnation Crafts website, which is www.carnationcrafts.co.uk. It's currently on the deal of the day, and that will be until midnight tonight, meaning that you get 11% off. Instead of it being $44.99 today, you're going to get it for $39.99, but that is only until midnight, so please do add it to your basket. Make sure you check out in time. I think by midnight tonight this will have gone, so you are going to be limited on your time to grab it. It just is gorgeous, isn't it? So we're going to finish up. We are going to be back with you at 1 o'clock for Fantastic Forest. Hope you can all join us then. It will be lovely to have your company. I just want to show you a couple of cards here, just to again show you the impact of this insanely beautiful die set called the Quiet Cottage set. Isn't it stunning? So you've got that one there, and let's finish on a beautiful tone, a beautiful note, by going out with Christmas, because why wouldn't you, in February? Look at that, absolutely delightful. It's been a real pleasure to have your company today. Thank you so much for joining Taz and I this morning. Do hope you can join us again at 1 o'clock. Hope you got some inspiration from the show. I hope you managed to get hold of your Quiet Cottage die set. As to remember, with all Carnation launches, you are always kind of against the clock with them, so I would advise you to shop ahead while you can. It's been lovely to see you all. I hope you're all safe and well, and we'll see you at 1. Take care till then. Bye.